friends, welcome to my kitchen, my little kitchen closet, I call it. We are going to make today French tourtiere. So this is a French Canadian recipe, and it is yummy and great for this time of the year. And it is vintage. This is just traditional, so it's one of those ones that don't have a start or end date. But so first thing first, mashed potatoes. Pretty sure everybody's familiar with how to make mashed potatoes. Potato grater, potatoes. This is potato skin. Shout out to Prince Edward Island potato folk. Heavens, you guys are having a hard time. There's such a thing as potato wart, and it is a cosmetic issue, and unfortunately they're going to lose an entire crop back home, which is hundreds of millions of pounds of potatoes to the American market, just because of potato wart found in a couple of fields. But anyway, potatoes aside, staple for this recipe, you got to cook your mashed potatoes. So I'm going to peel these mashed potatoes, I'm going to quarter these mashed potatoes, and I'm going to get them in a pot of hot water for roughly 10 to 15 minutes so we can make a mash out of them. And I forgot to say, in case those of you are potato aficionados, these are technically red potatoes. Not what I would normally choose for mash. I would normally choose a Yukon Gold. But where I live, we often don't have choices in potatoes. So I just went for an organic red potato. But Yukon Gold is my go-to potato. So we're going to put these boiling water. I cut them pretty small, so I'm hoping they'll, 10 or 15 minutes will take care of them. A little salt in the water, make a perfect mash. And in this recipe, you actually reserve some of your potato water. So watch for your recipe. You can also do great mashed potato dairy-free if you just leave the teensiest amount of potato water at the bottom and use that as your milk substitute. It still makes a fantastic mashed potato. You don't even need the milk. So if you got somebody dairy-free that's coming for Thanksgiving, you can do that as well. All right, you got this. Okay, so the secret to a tourtiere is the spice blend. And you have 1-to-1 ratios of salt and pepper and thyme. Okay, so those are the, actually salt is 2-to-1, but, and then you have half teaspoon of, wait for it, sage, cinnamon, ginger. Didn't have any ground, so I used fresh. And then 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, allspice, spice, ground mustard, cloves, and then cayenne, which I don't have cayenne, so we'll be all right without it. So that's the spices. So it makes a nice little spice blend, and this is going to flavor, along with the onions, this is going to flavor the meat. So you get your spices all together, yum, and it smells a bit like a Christmas dinner, gotta say. So the spices together. Onion chopped. We're ready to get our meat meat mixture cooked. So I wish you had smell-o-vision. This is actually quite dreamy. It's a cross between an apple pie and Christmas dinner, and it's lovely. So we're just gonna cook everything together, and because I'm British and that's the way we do things. I'm going to add the secret ingredient to every recipe I've ever done. Yep, going in. Alright, now that I've started a war between the French and English here in my skillet, the recipe calls to add back 3/4 of a cup of potato water. So we're going to add that back in. Now, French have a thing with potato water, I'm just saying. But we're going to add that back in and turn up the heat on that. So we'll cook the meat in potato water, all the spices, the onions, and the celery. And this is a mixture of pork and beef in here. This is sometime later. And it's saying to cook it for 45 minutes. I have never cooked ground beef for 45 minutes. So I'm not sure what the plan is here, but my afraid is it's going to get a little dry. So just to cook it until most of the moisture is gone, stirring occasionally, and then add back the mashed potatoes and let it cool to room temperature before you throw it in the oven. So As is most recipes that I do, I'm going to modify it, and I'm going to call this still a little liquid bubbling, but I'm going to call it mostly done. Alright, so we've added back the mashed potatoes to it. The nice thing about cast iron is that it will continue to heat for a little bit, so if there's any more moisture as I bring it down to room temperature, it should get rid of it. I cook in cast iron primarily. Everything I fry, everything I cook, I do in cast iron. One, mostly because of the iron, and I'm anemic most of the time, so it's a good source of iron. So cooking eggs in it, I cook everything I can because it's one of the best ways to get iron in your diet. There's a tip. So we'll let this come to room temperature, and then we'll start filling pie. Alright friends, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Pie crust. Now, I'll tell you my secret to pie crust. There's a real trick to it. It's called this. I've really tried. And some of y'all are going to say, it's not so easy. But I'm telling you, it's not so easy. World's best pie maker told me I could not do it. So, this meat mixture goes in this pie dish. So we're going to do that. Then there's an egg wash that's going to seal the layers together, and then it's going to go over the top of the pie as well, and then it's going to go in the oven. So pretty simple. We can do this, guys. We got this. All right, egg wash is on. Sort of an okay job crimping the corners. If you haven't guessed, presentation is not my strong suit. Sorry, Nate. I'm a disappointment. It's all right. This is going to go in the oven. This pie is best served warm and in typical Canadian fashion with ketchup. So we will see you tomorrow at the Festus, and we will be sampling this and see how this tastes. But I've had the meat mixture and it is glorious. Can't wait for tomorrow. Bye. Hi friends. Here we go. Finished piece. Tourtiere. Meat pie. It says to serve it at room temperature. I think that's disgusting. So I will not be serving it at room temperature. But here we go. Here's the taste test. This is so good. I recommend it to you if you've never had tourtiere before. Try it. You'll love it. Merry Christmas, everybody.